Hey, Shad here with Speed Addicts, the fast growing gear site on the web, and today we're going to uncrate the brand new GT-Air 3. What's up, Speed Addicts fan? Before we get into the goods with the new GT-Air, before we do that, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. That way, I can make sure that you're up-to-date, educated on all the latest protection gear coming into the industry, as well as other parts and accessories. If you subscribe, then you'll be in the know and make great buying decisions. Also, if you don't mind shopping with us, that's what keeps the lights on around here. We really appreciate your business. Down in the link below, there'll be or down in the description below, there'll be a link to the complete collection of Shoei helmets, including the all-new GT-Air 3, which is what we're going to talk to you about today. Remember, shopping online with Speed Addicts, you got 90-day returns, free return shipping. Just make sure the gear's brand new in the original condition. So it is risk-free shopping. And if you're in SoCal, you better come by the new Superstore here in Orange County. Speed Addicts' first retail location with the best helmet selection, bar none. We got apparel, e-bikes, boots. Come check it out. Okay, let's get into the all-new Shoei GT-Air. It's pretty. It looks a lot like its predecessor, the GT-Air 2. Okay, at first glance, you might not notice the subtle differences, but what I am here to tell you, whoops, we'll go like that. What I'm here to tell you is that while it doesn't look like it, this is a ground-up refresh from the folks in Japan. Okay, so Shoei, Japanese-made, high quality, high performance, and just really high-level engineering. That's 3 highs. That's really high. Oh, watch out. What you need to know is that this is a best-in-class helmet because its nearest peer, Shoei's nearest peer, also out of Japan, Arai, doesn't make a full-face helmet with this drop-down internal sun visor. So that is the GT-Air. It is a sport touring helmet that is full face but has the drop down internal visor. Arai doesn't make anything like this. So in terms of the build quality, the fit, the performance here, there's really nothing else on this level. If you want this format, that full face helmet with that internal sunshade, and budget is not a concern for you. You just want the best one, the one with the best fit, the one that's going to hold up the longest. Look no further. There's not really any close competition here. The Shoei GT-Air series is what's for you. Now, they're going to be making the GT-Air 2 for a little bit longer. They're going to sell it next to the new GT-Air 3 at a slight discount in terms of the pricing here. So not inexpensive. You're going to pay for the best. The GT-Air 3, which is the gray one here on my left, sorry, I should have told you that earlier. This GT-Air 3 is going to start at $749 and upwards of $900 for the graphics. Okay, the solids are always less expensive. That represents about a $50 upcharge from the predecessor, the Shoei GT-Air 2. So things are always getting more expensive. R&D costs, inflation, all that sort of thing. So again, GT-Air 2 on the right. Best in class, made in Japan. Who should spend that sort of money on a helmet? Well, like I said, if you've got the budget and you just want the best thing, that's great. But what I typically tell folks is that if you're in the helmet a lot, it is going to pay dividends to spend more money on a Shoei or one of our other top flight brands, because if you wear it often, not only do you get to enjoy it more often and get your value out of that money spent, but you're also going to notice that these helmets hold up longer than the competition that costs less money. So there's a durability factor. There's also a 5-year warranty. Let's run down a few of the things that are different real quick, and we're going to do a deep dive. So buckle up, get the popcorn. This is going to be a long one where I'm going to give you the full scoop. Now, just looking at them dead on here, I'll try to point them properly at the camera here. We notice the cues. It looks like the GT-Air on the front and on the side. We have those big reliefs, right? But again, this was a ground-up redesign, still inspired by the Shoei GT-Air legacy, but they really kind of tossed this whole thing and redesigned from the ground up. And what you're going to notice is that it is actually a little bit wider than the GT-Air 2. GT-Air 3 has gotten a little bit wider, but don't let that scare you off. What the folks in Japan have done is extensive wind tunnel testing. They actually have their own wind tunnel at Shoei HQ. And what they've done is they've improved the aerodynamics to have less lift and less wind resistance. Typically, that also results in less noise, but noise is very subjective, depends on your machine. Okay, so that it's improved aero and ventilation. That's usually what you're going to expect from Shoei iterations. As they come out with the newer stuff, they're going to make the aero better, and they're going to make more airflow. Those are things that enhance your comfort, your ride time, you're going to keep you cool and more comfortable out on the road. The shell itself is the AIM Advanced Integrated Matrix Shell. That's a composite shell as opposed to the cheaper polycarbonate or plastic stuff. The helmet weight is pretty similar. GT-Air, or Shoei in general, is not known for making the lightest helmets on the market. This helmet is 3 pounds, 12 ounces. So if you want something really lightweight, you're going to need to go with, number one, a different helmet probably. You're going to want something without the drop-down visor because that does add a little bit of weight. But really, the helmet balance and the fit is so good on the GT-Air, not just the 3, but the 2 as well. Both these helmets are of probably, like in terms of my personal taste, the best fitting helmets that we sell, and we sell them all. And I've tried on everything. The way it makes contact with your head and just supports you, the way that the pads, the thickness and the stiffness of the pad set just really cradles your head and makes the helmet very balanced and very comfortable. And I don't say that about every helmet. When you try this on, if you come by the Superstore, we have 300 helmets on display. If you try this on against other full face helmets, no matter the brand, this is going to stand out as the top 1 or 2 helmets in the store that fit you if you have an intermediate oval head shape. Now, most folks in the United States do have an intermediate oval as opposed to a round or a long oval. And so if you have an intermediate oval head, you're going to notice this helmet fits you outstanding. It's also going to run fairly true to Shoei sizing. So if you normally wear a large in Shoei, or you wore a large in a GT-Air 2, and you're upgrading to the 3, you will be happy. You don't have to change the fit. In fact, the fit is very, very similar. You'd be hard-pressed to know which one is on your head when you're standing still. It's when you are riding down the road, you notice the increased ventilation, which is substantial, and the drag reduction. Okay, 3 shell sizes here in the GT-Air 3. Let's move this out of the way now that we kind of saw the difference on how that looked. If you're wondering, this is a GT-Air 3 over here on my left. This is a gloss black, and it's kind of got some pearl to it. While I'm talking about it, I'll bring it over here so you can check that out. Okay, so 3 shell sizes. You're also going to have your option of different cheek pads and headliners within each side, so you can fine-tune the fit just like other Shoeis. We can do that here for you in the store, or our team can help you on the phones if you're buying on the website. Take your best guess at your size, try it on in your living room for 20-30 minutes. If it doesn't feel just right, which just right means nice and snug as you can stand it, making good contact around the crown, a nice solid squeeze in the face without pain or true discomfort, that's where you want to be. If you're not there, call our team, we'll help you tune that in. Remember, helmets break in a little bit, so account for about a 10% break in. So air towards the tight side. Size is extra small through 2 extra large. And generally with Shoei, like I'm kind of in the border. I'm a 24-inch circumference head, or like 7 7/8, and I can usually wear an extra large or a 2X in most helmets. In the GT-Air, I am wearing the extra large, and it feels great. So just a smidge, maybe more generous cut than the RF 1400. If you're between sizes there and you're coming over, you might want to round down. Remember, shopping for helmets online, we got you covered with the no-cost return, so you really don't have to worry. We're going to cover that return shipping. Just make sure you keep the original packaging and you don't wear it on the bike. You can test it in the living room, not out on the bike, and be able to return it with us for up to 90 days and free returns. If you live in SoCal, you can also walk your returns right back into the shop and get fitted by the expert staff here. Okay, let's take a closer look at the helmet itself. So you notice the cues on the top are significantly different. The ventilation, while it looks like it's inspired, here's the 3, here's the 2. The kind of the style is similar with these reliefs and stuff, but they've redesigned the top ventilation system completely. So you still have the progressive intake vent with multiple settings, not just 1 or 2. I think it's got 1, 2, 3. So all the way open, all the way off, or kind of somewhere in the middle. Same down low. And I love the vents from Shoei. They're big, they're easy to get your hands on, and they do have those 3 settings, which is nice. Now, where they've made the biggest gains, they've improved the intake by 17, that's 17%, in terms of air coming into the helmet. But where they really made the gains was the air coming out. Now you'll notice the Shoei doesn't have any winglet exhaust, it doesn't have any rear exhaust. It's all ported out the top, which is kind of interesting. So they've done some serious engineering work to improve the way the air comes out of the helmet. And the air coming out is that hot, moist air. It's important to dry. The drying effect is really what keeps you cool instead of being damp and humid in there. So they've improved the exhaust by 80%. That's 80. So this thing is really going to extract that hot, moist air, and don't let it fool you. It ventilates great even without those winglets and vents kind of in the rear of the helmet like we're used to seeing. So the shape itself, like I said earlier, it did get just a little bit wider, and we want to let you know that that has actually improved the aero. So they've made it just a touch wider, and then you notice these massive kind of winglets over here, or I don't know what we're going to call these, but this is to help the air smoothly go over the side instead of tumbling off here. You see that Shoei and some of their other helmets will have these little bumps, these little speed bumps on the visor. They call them like air turbines. And that's basically to help the air be clean as it goes around the side of the helmet. So that's what this is, okay? So this isn't part of the shell. This is kind of an add-on piece. Same over here. It's actually where the drop-down visor slider is. So this new shape, in combination with some of these aero pieces, has reduced the drag by 6% and the lift by 11%. So I'd also expect you'll notice it being just a touch quieter than your old GT2, or at least that's what we found. Again, noise is subjective, but I promise you the fit is number one. You get your fit right, nice and tight. A loose fitting helmet or a helmet that breaks in becomes loose over time is the number one problem, number one cause of excess road noise. That loose fit allows more noise to come up through the bottom of the helmet. The Shoei cheek pad system just makes such a great seal underneath your head. If it's properly fit, noise shouldn't be an issue for you. Okay, so let's talk about the face shield. That's another thing that they've changed considerably over the last one. Whenever they change and throw away the face shield, it's kind of annoying if you've got expensive shields from the past that you'd like to bring over to your new helmet. You can't do it. They're all trash. I'm sorry to tell you that. But here's what they did change that I like. They moved the tab to open the helmet over to the front. It also is locking now. So you have to press this to get it open. And I like having the lift tab in the center of the visor, because otherwise the engineering just doesn't make sense over here. You're lifting on one side. It tends to want to bind when you're applying the pressure to just one side of the face shield. And then they've also added this lip on the bottom. You see this little ridge to improve the rigidity of the face shield and just make it better all around. So now you have this face shield that opens in the middle. It's got a lock, so you can bump it up into a demist setting. You just unlock it and lift it gently. Here's your first detent, and then your second detent, third, fourth, fifth. And these ones up at the top are quite stiff, among the stiffest detents that I've experienced on a full face helmet like this. So just very sturdy, and the face shield's sturdy. They're gonna come out with the full range of smoke, mellow smoke, iridium options. What I haven't seen a part number or a SKU yet for is a photochromic. We'll see if they do that. I'm not sure that they do. Shoei's photochromic shields are great, but you know, the whole point of the GT-Air is that you have the versatility of the smoked drop-down sun visor to handle any lighting conditions. So would you really buy this and then buy a $200 photochromic shield? You're kind of like defeating the purpose here. Okay, you see how stiff that is? It takes a lot of force, so it's not going to surprise you. If you're riding with it in the up position, you have this screen here. If you're riding it in the up position to get a little bit more airflow, like some people do, GT-Air, get it? If you ride it in the up position and you hit a bump or something, this is not gonna accidentally drop down on you, which is nice to know. It is also pin lock ready, so you're gonna get, for your $750 some odd dollars, they're gonna give you that pin lock insert. If you're not familiar with these, this is an extra lens that installs on the inside of the Shoei GT-Air face shield. that's going to create a dual pane system, reduce or mitigate fog. So it's a fog device. If fog is an issue for you, you probably never touch it. You'll leave it in the box. Fog is an issue, then you probably already know what Pinlock is, and they're gonna give that to you with the helmet. In terms of the way the face shield comes off the helmet, it is simple kind of trigger action like Shoei's usually are. Now when I say it's simple, that means I'm probably gonna suffer on camera here, but you just pull that down and then it's gonna pop out. When they're new, they're a little bit tighter, and then when you go back in, we're just gonna, whoops, I should have done the top first. Usually want to do that top edge first and then drop the bottom into place. Stand by. We'll do the top. There you go. And then we're going to push the bottom in. There we go. All right. So spring-loaded system that's meant to pull the face shield back onto the helmet once you get it on. Always take it on and off the helmet in the open position where you can get your finger on the release mechanism. They're calling this the internal sun visor itself. Can you take us back up here, producer Matt? I forget, they always come out with a new alphabet soup for their face shield. I forget what they're calling this one. It's the CNS-1C shield. They could just call it the GT-Air 3 face shield. That'd be so much easier, but if they're listening, maybe they'll do that for me. Okay, let's talk about the internal face shield. They have a new alphabet soup for this one too, because it is another new part number. Now, I wore the GT-Air 2 for a bit, and what I noticed is that the drop-down face shield, which is kind of the star of the show, the coverage on it, it wasn't good enough. It didn't come down far enough. Some of the other helmets of this class that I've worn actually have better coverage or adjustable coverage where you can set how far it comes down on your face so that the edge of the shield is not right on the horizon for you. Okay, some of that's fit and head shape, but really they need to make it bigger, and Shoei did just that. So it's probably hard to tell on camera, but we have a 5mm increase in coverage on the bottom edge for this GT-Air 3, which makes the difference for me. Okay, so that edge is no longer on the horizon, it comes down where it needs to sit. But wait, there's more. Okay, so Shoei over the recent years, the GT-Air 2 was the first GT-Air that had integrated comms. So now you can get the new SRL 3 with your Shoei GT-Air 3. This unit also works with the new Neotech 3. So this is made by Senna, branded as the Shoei Rider Link system, and this one is smaller than its predecessor. It's also next generation with the mesh, the best speakers. Their packaging is not very interesting, but that's going to install on this bottom edge here, okay? Now, the main thing to notice over the old one here is how much smaller that got. So you saw in the older one, it's got this big triangle shape. It takes up a lot of real estate. Now it's a smaller, sleeker design with better technology. Yes, it is annoying that you need to use their comm system. The integrated comm systems are kind of like polarizing. Some people are like diehard Cardo people. They already have an expensive pack talk that they want to use, and they just find this stuff to get in their way. What I'll tell you folks is that the new GT-Air 3 is smaller, and there is room either in front of or behind to use an adhesive mount on the GT-Air 3, so it's a less intrusive integration, obstructive. We'll call that. Is that a word, producer? Less obstruction for your comm system. So if you have a universal pack talk or something you want to use instead of the Shoei Rider Link, go nuts. But I'm telling you, the Shoei Rider Link 3 is a great system, and it is so clean once it's installed here. It's hard to even see it. So you do on the bottom, you're going to have comes with some speakers and just a nice tucked away package. Battery goes back here. It's awesome. Okay, let's flip the helmet over and see the internals on the GT-Air 3. Another thing that Shoei excels at. So like I told you, this is one of the most comfortable helmets that's ever ruined this amazing hairdo that you see before you. Now, the other thing is that you're going to get this convenience here of a quick release chin strap. Is it safe? Well, would Shoei risk their reputation on a quick release chin strap that wasn't safe? Or protective, I guess they like to use that word instead. I'm thinking yes. We have not heard of any issues. That doesn't mean there hasn't been any. I know some people are diehard on the D-rings, But you'll notice, unlike some other brands, Shoei's ratchet mechanism here, their micro ratchet chin strap, is actually metal instead of polymer or some sort of plastic. So this is like a metal buckle, and you notice the buckle is actually like 4 millimeters smaller. The old GT-Air buckle, you can notice here, is that it's actually a fair bit bigger, and that's great. So they've reduced the size of that, and it's just so much nicer to jump in and out of a helmet with the quick release. So the cheek pads, emergency quick release cheek pads, okay, with the pullaways here. If EMS has to get you out of a helmet, they can do so with those. We're gonna go ahead and remove the cheek pads. There are different options within each size. These are 35 mil. If the 35 mil squeezes you too much or not enough, we can move you in either direction. Talk to the team here to get help. But the shape, the contour, the engineering on their cheek pads is exceptional, and you'll notice the way it just hugs your face and makes the helmet one with you. Be one with your helmet. You'll ride better. There you go. Cheek pads out of the way. Now you'll notice the speaker pockets. They've covered it with a little bit of, oops, this kind of little plug here. There you are. That is the speaker pocket. And you also notice the channel for your microphone that gets pinned up here in the front. So it's all ready to receive the mic from that Shoei SRL comm package. And then we're gonna remove the internal headliner here. Now, while you're looking at the back, you'll notice this helmet is DOT. I probably mentioned that earlier. Now, Shoei doesn't do ECE ratings in the United States. What they do is they usually do Snell. Snell will not approve a helmet with the drop-down internal sunshade, and I'm not sure the details on that, but the result is that this helmet is just a DOT homologation. You won't see ECE or Snell on the GT-Air 3, just in case you were wondering. There is the Shoei liner. It looks like the rest of the Shoei liners. It's just really, the engineering here is always very smart from Shoei, with the holes in the liner in the right place to line up with the ducting inside of the EPS to keep you cool. Same here in the forehead, and you'll notice they don't use forehead snaps. They use this kind of eyebrow insert here so you don't get any weird hot spots. So cool, comfortable liner. There it is, the ports, and whoops, you all see all the ports and channels here. So part of the airflow system to keep you cool. Remember, 80% increase in the exhaust flow, gonna really keep you cool. 5-year warranty from Shoei. I honestly can tell you this is one of the best fitting, most comfortable helmets that I have ever worn. So if you're after something with the drop down sun visor in the full face format, and price is not gonna hold you back, this is the one to get. Over at Speed Addicts right now, remember 90-day returns, free return shipping, and if you're in SoCal, just come in here and buy one in the store. We'll get you fit. The Pro Fit team is here to help you. That's it. We'll see you next time to find out what's in the crate.